Elements of fiction. Point of view. Point of view refers to who tells the story, and how it is told. It is the perspective through which the narrator presents his or her characters, controls their action and the events. There are many different ways of narrating the story. A narrator is a person who tells a story. The narrator may be one of the characters in the story, so readers learn what happened from that character's point of view. A character may tell his tale in the first person. This is called first-person narration. Also, this is called the first-person point of view. The narrator uses words like I, me, my, we, and our. Example.
As soon as I walked into the room, I could tell something was wrong with my computer. I took off my coat and sat down. As soon as Maria and I walked into the room, we could tell something was wrong with our computer. I took off my coat and sat down.
The first-person narrator recounts his experiences, placing himself as I. Sometimes, the narrator isn't a character in the story, but just someone looking in from the outside and reporting what happened. This is called the third-person point of view. The narrator uses words like he, she, they, and their.
As soon as Maria and Mark walked into the room, they could tell something was wrong with their computer. She took off her coat, hung it up, and sat down.
The third-person narrator provides an omniscient point of view. He knows everything that is to take place in the story, and he is the agent who describes and controls actions, motives and thoughts. Sometimes, the story is told by someone who is not involved in the story at all, but who seems to know about everyone and everything happening in the book. This is called the omniscient narrator. The third-person point of view can be omniscient or limited. In omniscient point of view, the narrator knows everything. In limited point of view, the author tells the story in the third person, but limits himself to what is experienced or felt by a single character. Third-person narrator uses pronouns he, she, or they. 1. Omniscient. Omni means all, and the second part of the word means knowledge as in science. Thus, omniscient means knowing everything. The narrator is all-knowing and takes the reader inside the character's thoughts, feelings, and motives, as well as shows what the characters say and do. 2. Limited omniscient. The narrator takes the reader inside one, or at most, very few characters, but neither the reader nor the character, or characters, has access to the inner lives of any of the other characters in the story. Third-person limited narrator is outside the story and gives the feelings of a single character. Direct. Other characters are viewed objectively. Indirect. 3. Objective. The narrator does not see into the mind of any character. Rather, he or she reports the action and dialogue without telling the reader directly what the characters feel and think. We surmise by their actions, comments, and how others react. This is eye of the camera technique, as if it were a movie or TV. It is indirect.
Buddy stole the money from his mother's purse. Just before he left for school, his mother was in the kitchen, clearing up the breakfast things, and his father was still in bed. He tiptoed into the front room and slipped the purse out of her handbag. He clicked it open and took out a £5 note. A wave of disgust swept through him. Only 2 weeks ago, he'd vowed to himself that he was going to stop shoplifting, and here he was stealing from his own mother. He hadn't done that since he was a little kid, and had sometimes nicked the odd 10 pence. He was turning into a real thief. Buddy by Nigel Hinton.
First-person narrator uses pronoun I. The narrator presents the point of view of only one character's consciousness, which limits the narrative to what the first-person narrator knows, experiences, infers, or can find out by talking to other characters. First-person narrator is when the author or narrator is inside the story, telling the story as a major or minor character who says, I. Most first-person stories are direct characterization, because the author tells what he, or she, is thinking. There is a second-person point of view, but it's not used very often in literature. The narrator talks directly to a character in the story, and uses words like you and your. Example: as soon as you walk into the room, you can tell something is wrong with the computer. You take off your coat, hang it up, and sit down. This is the end of the lesson. Thank you, and have a nice day.